Hey, so in this video we'll be doing the Easter eggs and prediction for Season 6, Episode 4 of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Spoiler, not caught up. So I'll be dealing with Deke's storyline first, because the title of the episode, Code Yellow, is a reference to his storyline. So yeah, we meet up with him, and he apparently has a business running, and it's basically all based off of the framework, and it's his own version from 2091, which was a framework without the headset. And it was like basically a drug in the future. I'm assuming not here. I don't know exactly how his work, but this one is not a headset, like the one from season 4. So it's his own version, and it's this game that he's trying to create is called the Remoreth Rumble, and we see the scene with him and Trevor, and they're under attack by the Remoreth. We see some Kree there. He uses the shotgun axe, shotgun axe. We hear a very similar line that we've heard earlier on in this season, which was, "I'm getting too old for this," so I'm assuming it was intentional then, and it's intentional now, because "I'm getting too old for this" is a reference to Lethal Weapon, so that means that Deke has watched movies whenever he had spare time, since he didn't know any of that back then, back in 2091. So yeah, one of the things I really appreciated in detail wise was when we meet up with or when we see Daisy in this framework situation, is that Deke put her in the Quake outfit from season 3 to season 5, which was the yellow and black one, she has brown hair here, which we know from since season 6. She's now has blonde hair and has a purple and black outfit. And from the production design and costume designer or whatever, I kind of appreciate that they put Deke in a very similar color scheme outfit as well during this framework scenario where it was a black and yellow outfit. So yeah, we meet up with Deke, or getting out of the framework, and we meet his girlfriend Sequoia, and she's played by Marissa Tantron, which is one of the showrunners from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And it's not the first time one of the showrunners has appeared on the show, which was in season 4 premiere, which was her husband Jed Whedon. He didn't actually have a giant role like Marissa she does, but he appeared as just one of the background cameos as a bus passenger during the scene with Yo-Yo and Daisy. So yeah. We go along through a tour throughout this business, and we find out that Deke put lemons everywhere, on like photos, on desks, on t-shirts, everywhere. So that means he really, really loves this company and his employees or whatever, because that's what happened. That's what the tradition was. If you liked someone, you would put a lemon on a bed or whatever. So since there's lemons everywhere, he really, really likes the company and the employees. So yeah, but throughout the episode we see different things, and apparently Deke stole some items from S.H.I.E.L.D., which Mac did know about, but not to the extent of what actually has been going on, I guess. But he stole the Ep4 from the one from Peru from season 1, episode 2, the Overkill device from season 1, episode 8, and I believe we see it twice in the episode. Could be a production mistake, could be an intentional, or it could be two different devices that just look very similar to me. Because the first one was when it was in on a desk or a table in like a hallway scene with Deke's employees. But then later with later in the conference room, whatever, with Sarge, it's also on that desk. But it could be a very similar device. But it's just not that one. But it looked very similar to me. So yeah, And apparently Deke's company is not just a video game company. It's also trying to fix the food problem in the world by trying to perfect the mushroom pellets that Deke grew up with in the framework, or in 29-1. And he's calling it the post-food movement. So yeah, at least he's doing something good. And one of his employees is trying to convince him to use a watch that can communicate to anyone around in the office on any desk, whatever. And he says nothing goes on this wrist ever, which is a reference to his metric from last season, which could control his slaves, kill the slaves, or whatever. So yeah, and that scene also is foreshadowing the events of this episode, which would be where Deke uses the same technology to trick Sarge into thinking Deke is somewhere where he actually wasn't. So yeah, but we see a different monitors, whatever. And on some of them, we see a splinter bomb from Season 2 to Season 3. I believe we see the Zephyr 1, which I'm assuming probably is like a different stage, kind of like the Ramorath ship or whatever. But I could be wrong if but it just really looks like the Zephyr 1 on one of the monitors. But like I said, I could be wrong. And the funniest thing that came out of this segment of storyline is that in one of the in the background, we see this giant sign that just says drug on it. I'm assuming it's a reference to all the times that Deke referenced drugs, or he was on drugs, or someone referenced drugs towards him. So yeah, I'm assuming that's what it was. And there was this other reference that caught me off guard, is that he references the holo table, and I'm assuming since he stole all the stuff, there's no possible way that he stole the holo table, because the holo table is a giant item that I'm assuming Mac and someone would have noticed that a giant holo table would have disappeared. So I'm assuming this holo table he's referring to is his own version, and not the one that we all know from Season 1 and whatnot. That's just my thinking of it. Like, there's no possible way that holo table is the same holo table from S.H.I.E.L.D. But yeah. Going to now the Sarge's conversation with Deke, we see in the background there's the model bus from Season 1, which was always on Coulson's desk. And then we see Lola, the toy Lola that Mac made to find out where Fury's toolbox was in Season 2. So, yeah. And we see Deke's trying to, figure out what's going on, why Coulson's there, and how Coulson survived. And he suggests that S.H.I.E.L.D. used the memory wipe machine on him again, but we know that's not the case here. So, yeah. And the way that Deke finds out Coulson or Sarge isn't Coulson is by referencing this character named Agent Doug, which is Agent Doug actually has been referenced before in the show, which was in Season 3, Episode 15, Space Time. And the funny thing I really like this kind of reference, because that episode was dealing with space time, or with time travel or whatever, and Deke is basically time travel because he was from the future and he came to the past. So I really kind of like that reference. So the way that Deke actually confirms that Sarge isn't Coulson is by stabbing him in the hand and saying, "Real hand, not Coulson." So I really like that reaction there. And since he has no idea that what's been going on in S.H.I.E.L.D. since he's left in season 5, he doesn't even know that Fitz died, doesn't know that they're in space trying to find the other Fitz and whatnot. So I wonder what his reaction is going to be like when he finds out that Fitz actually died, and Fitz that is going to come back doesn't even know who he is. So I wonder what their reaction or their relationship's going to be, because the last time Fitz didn't really like Deke, so maybe he's going to be nicer to this Deke, or this Fitz is going to be nicer to Deke. So maybe, but yeah. And there's this one scene I want to talk about, because I'm assuming in the framework, Daisy's personality is inspired by Sequoia, Sequoia, because later when Deke rescues her in the bathroom, she slaps him and says, "What took you so long?" Which is the exact same thing that Daisy in the framework did. So I'm assuming she's done this multiple times to Deke, and it's just stuck in his head that he decided to put her personality in the framework as Daisy. I'm assuming that's what is happening there. So yeah, and I mentioned it before that the overkill device appeared on the table in front of Sarge or whatever, but there were a whole bunch of different items that I don't think I even recognized. So comment down below if there was anything anything Easter egg wise that I probably missed, because I can't recognize any of the items that were on that table. So yeah, but talking back to Sequoia, right? Sequoia, we ended the episode with her Instagram story that she was filming throughout the episode, and that story kind of had a plot hole in it. Not a lot of people are talking about it, but we see in one of them that she is leaving the building, and you see Sarge's team enter the building. And earlier in the episode, before she leaves the building, one of Deke's employees says, "This weird guy is here to talk to you," or whatever. And then you see Deke say, "You go get the boba, and we can drink it together," or whatever. So she leaves. So that means at that point earlier on in the episode, Sarge is already in the building, but also out of the building when Sequoia leaves the building. So they're both in two places at once. It doesn't add up. So yeah, there's a little bit of a plot hole there, but I'm okay with it. So yeah. And I know I don't normally do this. It's going to be a part 2 in a way. Or there's going to be a part 2, so yeah. If I missed any Easter eggs or references for the Deke storyline, comment down below, and I'll be right back for part 2 with the Lighthouse storyline. See ya.